Hello and welcome to the Lyon House Assembly for Monday the 11th of May. I believe it's actually going to be released probably more likely Tuesday or maybe Wednesday morning, as it's got to be converted to a YouTube clip and then posted out. I thought it'd be useful to update you on things from the school's perspective following the announcement from the Prime Minister and some other bits and bobs that are coming up at the moment. Although it has been very recent, I hope to go over the impact Boris Johnson's announcement makes, or the government's announcement makes, on the schooling or educational provision that we're able to provide over the coming weeks and months, to give some thoughts, or some of my thoughts on it. Give you an update on the Strava challenge to cycle to Lyon. Go over when the breaks and quizzes are for this week so you can be there in the right place at the right time. And just a quick reminder of what support we have on offer and where you should go for what and who you can go and see. So as I'm sure you saw or heard or read, that the government has been clear that the year groups returning, they hope, from the 1st of June, as long as the science behind it and the management, the R value is right, is below 1. Reception year 1 and year 6 are going to return to primary schools. There's still some debate about whether independent schools with boarding elements will be within that, but anyway, that is the current plan. It also mentioned the possibility of at least some time with teachers for 4th and lower 6th before the summer holiday. So on the basis of that, it's clear to us at the school that sadly there isn't anybody going to be returning before half term, so remote learning is going to be the order of the day, certainly up until half term. And we are making plans and arrangements and going through the more detailed advice, as the Prime Minister mentioned, on how we might open as a school for the 4th and lower 6th form. My take on it, and it is just my take on it, that may well be a little bit later on in June. It does really depend on this R value. So I wouldn't be expecting people to come back. You know, they suddenly decide that 4th and lower 6th are coming back on the 1st of June as well. I imagine from the tone of what I've been looking at, it will be a little bit after that. But I can assure you that the school is making plans and provision to work out how best we can facilitate that within all the guidelines that we're currently being given. There's also quite clearly going to be a quarantine for pupils from overseas, and we need to work out how that would work with the end of our term being towards the very beginning of July. But that is something that's been made clear. For any pupils returning from overseas, there would be a period of quarantine, and that could well be around the 2-week period. So a lot to think about, as a lot to plan, and as things evolve, particularly around the R value, we will know more. And of course, as soon as we do know more, we will be in touch, and I'm sure that the headmaster will be writing to you imminently on where we are with that. So after 1 week of the Lyon to Lyon Strava challenge, I've been really pleased with the uptake of the boys, and some boys have really got involved and got stuck in and put some decent distance on their tallies. There has been a bit of vying for the top spots. I think Freddie Hamilton pipped me at the post by just doing over the 90 miles. I know I did 90 last week and he did just slightly more than me, but there's some really great efforts in there. So I'm delighted that people are getting involved. One of the things I realised is I've kind of missed a trick, and I want to open this up to parents. This shouldn't just be for the boys. It's something that you can do with your sons as well. So they've now got a week's head start. But yes, I'm going to throw the gauntlet down and challenge you to cycle the 523 miles from Lyon House to Loch Lyon. Please do get on to download Strava, join the Lyon House Club, or try to join the Lyon House Club. The only thing I would ask is if your name, your Strava name, is something slightly obscure and it's not obvious that it's you, perhaps you could send me a text or send me an email just to say that that is you and that you'd like to be admitted, because otherwise I won't let you in if you've got a slightly obscure name. But please do get involved and let's challenge the boys. Let's see if the slightly older generation can beat these young whippersnappers. So yes, I am also reasonably pleased with myself that I think I've managed to embed in the next slide how to use Strava. I think some of the feedback from the boys was not familiar with it as an app and how to use it and what they can do with it. So I'm hoping in the next slide it will show you how to join the club and what you can do on Strava.
So chaps, I wanted to talk you through a little bit more about Strava. I know some people are struggling to use it or don't know anything about it, so I thought I'd show you. So looking at my phone, if you click on Strava, it's come through to the feed section, but let's start with the use section. One of the great things about this is it tells you how many activities you've done this month, and it does that every month. And you can see that this month in May, I've cycled 90.7 miles. And this is the tally that we're going to be really interested in over the 2 months of May and June. We're going to see how close we can get to 523 miles. On my feed, you can see that I've done, I went on a bike ride with my children and I failed to turn on the Strava the other day. And I took some pictures. One of the things you can do with Strava is you can add pictures. There's me looking hot and sweaty of where you've been cycling. Another beautiful, great feature about it is it just shows you achievements and how well you've gone and if you've done anything impressive. So example here, that was my personal record for that particular segment. And I can see that this year that puts me as 57th of everybody who's done that. So that's quite an interesting challenge, just to see if you're doing a similar ride, see if you can go quicker and quicker every time. So that's the feed, but I suppose the key thing we're actually looking for is the clubs. So if I go to the clubs feature, when you go here, you are going to have to look for find the Lyon House Club. You should be able to search for it and join Lyon. But you can see on this feed for the Lyon House Club, you can see that Dylan, who joined today, has done a quick bike ride today. So I'll give him a bit of kudos. So well done for that. And yesterday, Zach did a pretty monster ride of nearly 21 miles. And Freddie's been very active. He's done loads. In fact, I think he was leader at one point throughout. Ice has been very active as well. Andrew has done lots of shorter rides, which is great. And then Will did a little bike ride as well. So it logs all of it. It's all in there. So this is Freddie with a longer ride, nearly 21 miles. I do want to show Edouard Bazza has done his 40-mile ride there, but I'm going to skip on through some very good rides again from some of the boys there. I forgot to turn my Strava on there. There we go. This is Ed's 34-mile ride around Jersey, which I think is really impressive. As you can see, this is Ed's longest ride on Strava. So, fellas, it's all really useful stuff. The other thing you can do is when you click on the Lyon House tab, you can see there's our little background logo. And you can see we've got 19 cyclists. Currently winning this week is Zach, but I am hoping to go out for a bike ride a little bit later on. And then Otis is second and Freddie is third. But if you go down a little bit further, you can view the leaderboard. And you can see where we are for this week. So each week there's a little competition about who's gone the furthest, but what we're interested in is the full tally of how far you're getting in May and June. The other thing people have asked is how do you actually use it? Well, one, you've got to be a member of the club. So you've got to ask to be a member of the club, and if you ask, I'll let you in. And then when you're going to go for a bike ride, all you have to do is, doesn't matter what part of Strava you're on, you just press the record button at the bottom, and it comes up with your location, and you can see that I am somewhere near there. That's actually a bit off, but anyway, and you just have to press cycle. Now look, if you're running, you can press this bike feature here, and it gives you the option of doing all these different things, but if you are running, I'd still like you to put it down as a ride, because the club is all about cycling. It just adds in the all the miles together. So I then, from that position, press start, and it will just go. I do need to sort of shut down or close my phone, and then put it in my pocket or whatever, and go for a bike ride. But you'll notice after 10 seconds of non-activity, it just auto pauses and it kind of stops. Because I haven't moved, I don't doubt it's going to let me. Oh, it has allowed me. So I can save this activity. I can title it something. Test. I can add photos, as I did. Add a photo. I can put in the fact that it was a workout. I can describe how it was, and see how easy or hard it was. I thought it was, and I can decide whether everybody's going to see it, just my followers, if it's only me. I think, to be honest, for everyone is within your group is probably okay. And then I ordinarily say save activity, and then that would upload to the club and also your own feed. And if anybody's following you, then they will see it too. But I'm going to discard this particular one because I didn't actually go anywhere. So I'm hoping that is of some use of how to use Strava, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you get involved. You can see more and more people are getting involved, and we have actually got currently the 19 members. So let's see if we can get that a little bit higher, fellas. Get more involved and get some decent bike rides under our belts during this week and get that mileage up. Okay, thanks very much.
We've had some great fun on some of the breaks and quizzes over the last week. We're trying to evolve and adapt and develop those as we go. The break time's just a social chat. I managed to catch up with a few boys, but also for boys to catch up with each other. So you can see that through the various year groups, there are various breaks. The fourth form one and fifth form one were, in fact, as I speak today. There's lower sixth one will be tomorrow on Wednesday, and there's a third one on Friday. And the quizzes are Tuesday 5:30 for the third form. Fourth form is Wednesday 4 p.m. and the fifth form 5 p.m. on Wednesday, with the lower sixth quiz on Thursday at 5 p.m. And one of the things I've adapted, I've got a couple of rounds for this week, but I think the fifth form and the challenge going out to the lower sixth to come up with different styles of quizzes or engagement. It doesn't have to be a quiz, but just fun activities that we can do as a group. So far I've led them, but it'd be great if you guys came up with some ideas. Perhaps we discuss in the break for how we could run our sort of social activity on in the later evenings when we're doing our, as I've called them, quizzes. But they have worked really well. I'm delighted with how engaged everybody's been with them, and long may it continue. So please do get involved with those, fellas. It's great to catch up. And as I've said before, I think it is worth thinking about the support that you guys may need, but also perhaps you can also offer to each other. As I've mentioned, we're going to be doing this for a while longer, this remote learning. If you are having issues academically, I implore you chaps, get in contact with your teachers very early. I think frustration sets in when there's just no communication at all. Use the Teams calls, do email, get in touch, use the posts through Teams as well, to contact your teacher, to let them know that maybe you're finding things difficult, that you've run out of time, or that something else has happened, you've had to go to a doctor's appointment or something, meaning that you're not going to be around. Communicate as much as you can. In fact, I was speaking to somebody earlier on today, because of the fact that we're remote learning, we almost need to over communicate. So beyond what we'd normally expect to be a reasonable level. We have to go even further than that to make sure that we are up to speed and people know what's going on, because it is more difficult. Then the other thing is that academically your tutors are there. Those tutorials, I think, for many of you have been quite fruitful. I certainly get a little summary of how things are going. I find that really interesting as well. So make sure you're there for the tutorials, and if you're not clear when they are, do ask your tutor, but then do also ask me, because I've got a good overview of when those things should be happening. Pastorally, if you are finding things difficult, or you want to talk to people, there's lots of people you can see. Again, your tutor is somebody to speak to, but I'm hoping that you'd be able to get in contact with me. That's text, phone. You've all got my phone number, and it could also be through Teams calls or whatever, or just make me aware by email, and then we maybe have a call. Don't forget, chaps, that there's the DSL team that we've talked about before. So those are members of the designated safeguarding leaders team, and you can get hold of them again through any of the team's calls or email. If you recall, those people are currently Mr. Sheffield as the lead DSL, myself, Mr. Marston, and Mr. Murray. So if you feel comfortable talking to any of them, please do get in touch. And again, I'll remind you that the counsellor is still available and working, granted it's remotely, but Paul Wiggle, the school's counsellor, is available to get in touch with. You just email counsellor@sherborne.org and he will get back to you to an arrange appointment so you can chat. And then if you need support with co-curricular activities, and I'm getting a little bit of feedback through on that perhaps the platform at which we are presenting these things isn't going as well as it could be, or it means that the engagement is harder to engage with it in a positive way. We are interested in feedback. If you have got good ideas, or you want to raise any points, do mention them to your tutor. Do come and talk to me about it. And the other person, of course, in charge of the co-curricular programme is Mr. Bennett, and I know that he'd be keen to hear your views on things, on how we can support you better in your co-curricular development. I'm actually thinking a lot about exercise. I think the music and music practice is going quite well. Obviously, drama is harder to do, but I believe there is the drama club that you can get involved in. But it's the sporting provision, I think, that some of you are interested in getting more support with. Anyway, I hope this has been of some interest. I will, if there are further developments, particularly about how our provision at school may change, I will no doubt be in touch and do another house assembly. But I hope you're all well, staying fit and healthy, and continue to learn through this new style of remote learning. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.